Imagine this. You're an international worker who's poured your heart and soul into building a life in the UK, paying taxes, supporting the NHS, raising a family, all under the promise that after 5 solid years, you'd finally get that indefinite leave to remain, that golden ticket to stability and belonging. And then, out of nowhere, the government drops a bombshell saying, nah, forget that. Now it's 10 years or 15 if you're in care work, or even 20 if you've ever needed a bit of help. Your world crumbles, families torn apart, dreams shattered, people fleeing the country they called home. That's not some dystopian nightmare. That's the reality unfolding right now in Britain. And if you're watching this, it could be your story next. You need to hear this because what happened in Parliament on February 2nd, 2026 wasn't just talk. It was a raw, emotional battle cry from MPs fighting tooth and nail for people like you. Welcome to UK Visa Update, where we cut through the noise and give you the real deal on what's happening with your future in this country. Let me hit you with the urgency straight up. This isn't some distant policy tweak that might happen someday. The government's proposals are already sending shockwaves through communities, with over 100,000 signatures on petitions screaming for change. Healthcare workers, engineers, teachers, families, they're all hanging by a thread, wondering if they'll be forced to pack up and leave after investing everything here. If you're on a skilled worker visa, or you're a carer keeping the elderly alive day in and day out, or even if you're a high-earning tech whiz who chose the UK over Canada because of that 5-year promise, listen close. The clock is ticking. The consultation period is wrapping up, and the Home Office could announce their final call any day now. One wrong move from them, and boom, tens of thousands of lives upended. But here's the spark of hope. Those MPs in Parliament didn't just whisper concerns, they roared. They shared stories that brought tears to hardened politicians' eyes, exposed the cruelty baked into these changes, and demanded justice. If we amplify this, if you act now, we might just force the government to back down. But first, let's rewind and unpack how we got here, because understanding the background is key to fighting back. It all started last year when the government rolled out this immigration white paper, floating ideas that sounded reasonable on the surface but hit like a gut punch for anyone already living and working in the UK. See, for years, the deal was clear. Come to Britain on a qualifying visa like the skilled worker route or health and care visa, live here continuously for 5 years, prove you're contributing, no excessive absences, no criminal record, pass the life in the UK test, show English proficiency, and bam, you apply for indefinite leave to remain, or ILR. That's your permanent status. No more visa renewals every few years, no more sponsor dependencies, just the freedom to build without looking over your shoulder. Families plan around it, kids enroll in schools knowing they won't be yanked away, spouses start businesses or go back to school. It's the foundation of trust between immigrants and the UK. But then, amid talks of controlling borders and rewarding high contributors, the government proposed flipping the script. Suddenly, the baseline jumps to 10 years for most workers. Care workers, 15 years of limbo. If you've claimed benefits for over 12 months, maybe during a rough patch like illness or job loss, 20 years. And if there's any overstay in your history, even a minor one from years ago, 30 years before you can settle. These aren't random numbers. They're designed to filter out who deserves to stay based on earnings, volunteering, and some vague integration score. But the kicker, they wanted to apply this retrospectively, meaning if you're already 3 years in, expecting ILR in 2 more, tough luck. Now you've got 7 more to go. Panic set in fast. Forums lit up. WhatsApp groups buzzed. People couldn't sleep. Why? Because this isn't just about time. It's about power, uncertainty, and survival. Now let's talk scale, because this isn't affecting a handful of people. It's a tidal wave crashing over entire sectors of British society. We're looking at hundreds of thousands of international workers potentially impacted. Think about the NHS alone. It's already on its knees with staffing shortages, waiting lists stretching into oblivion. International recruits make up a massive chunk. Nurses from the Philippines, doctors from India, carers from Nigeria and beyond. A survey from the Royal College of Nursing dropped a bomb. 60%, 6 out of 10 of these vital workers say they'll pack up and leave if the timelines extend. 60%. Imagine the chaos, hospitals closing wards, elderly homes shutting down, emergency rooms overwhelmed. That's not hyperbole, it's math. The UK recruited these people aggressively with campaigns promising stability after 5 years. Now, betray that and watch the exodus. But it's not just healthcare. Tech hubs in London and Manchester rely on global talent, engineers, developers, innovators who chose Britain over Silicon Valley or Berlin because of that quick path to settlement. If they bolt, innovation stalls, taxes dry up, businesses relocate, and families, over 1 million dependents could be caught in the crossfire, kids' educations disrupted, marriages strained. Petitions exploded past 100,000 signatures in weeks, forcing Parliament to debate it. Social media erupted with Volksprotect, the 5-year route trending, stories pouring in from every corner. This is big, economy shaking, society altering big. If the government pushes through without protections, we're talking a brain drain that could set Britain back years, all while the cost of living crisis bites harder without these contributors holding things together. But numbers are cold. It's the human impact that really guts you. And oh man, the stories from that parliamentary debate painted a picture that'll stick with you. Picture this, a same-sex couple, let's call them Alex and Jordan, who fled their home country where being gay could mean imprisonment or worse. They arrived in the UK 4 years ago, built a home in Brighton, started a small graphic design business together, even adopted a rescue dog named Luna. They were counting down to that 5th year when ILR would mean true safety. No more visa renewals hanging like a sword over their heads. But with the 10-year extension looming, they're terrified. What if a paperwork glitch sends them back? What if their sponsor changes rules? Alex wrote to their MP saying, "We've given everything to this country, but now it feels like we're just temporary guests, always one step from deportation to danger." That story echoed in Parliament, with an MP choking up as she read it aloud, the chamber falling silent. Then there's Maria, a Filipino care worker in a Manchester nursing home. She's been here 3 years, working double shifts through the pandemic, holding hands of dying patients when families couldn't. Her letter, read by another MP, was heartbreaking. "This system sees us as machines, not people. We pay into the NHS with our taxes and our sweat, but when we need stability, we're told to wait 15 years. I can't focus on my residents anymore. I'm up nights worrying if I'll have to leave my kids behind." Maria's got 2 little ones in school here, thriving, making friends. 15 years means they're adults before she settles. Uncertainty poisoning every milestone. And don't get me started on Raj, an Indian engineer in Birmingham. He turned down a job in Australia for the UK's 5-year promise. Now, mid-project on green energy tech that's supposed to help Britain hit net zero, he's staring at 10 more years. His wife gave up her teaching career to support him, handling the home front. Under these rules, he might qualify faster if he earns over 50 grand. But she stuck at 10 years because she's part-time. "How do I tell my son his mom might not have the same rights as me?" he asked his MP. These aren't isolated tales. They're the tip of the iceberg. Anxiety disorders spiking, relationships breaking, people postponing pregnancies or marriages because who plans a life in limbo? It's cruelty wrapped in bureaucracy, stripping dignity from those who keep Britain running. All right, let's dive into the technical side because understanding the nuts and bolts empowers you to fight this. Indefinite Leave to Remain, or ILR, is basically your upgrade from temporary visas to permanent residency. Under current rules, after 5 years on routes like Tier 2, now skilled worker or health and care, you apply via Form Set O or similar, paying around 2.5 grand in fees, submitting biometrics, proving continuous residence, no more than 180 days absent per year usually, and demonstrating integration. It's straightforward, rewarding commitment. The proposals shift to a points-based or assessed system. Your timeline depends on factors like salary, over 50,000 gets you 5 years under means 10 or more, Volunteering hours, community contributions, benefit history. For care workers, it's 15 because they're deemed lower skilled, despite being essential. Overstayers? Penalized with 30 years, even if it was a short lapse forgiven before. The individual assessment sounds fair, but it's a minefield. Subjective judgments by home office caseworkers who already have backlogs and error rates. Dependents get evaluated separately, so one family member might settle while another waits, creating legal nightmares like differing rights to work or benefits. And retrospective application, that's the poison pill. Applying new rules to old visas, breaching the legitimate expectation principle in UK law, where people rely on existing policies. MPs hammered this. It's like buying a house on a 5-year mortgage. Then the bank saying, actually, it's 10 now. Pay up or lose it. Technically, the government claims it's about encouraging integration, but critics say it's cost-cutting, reducing permanent residents who access full benefits. The white paper's under consultation, meaning public input shapes the final immigration rules laid before Parliament, but without a vote unless challenged. Now, the authorities' response, that February 2nd debate, was electric, a rare moment where Parliament felt alive with real passion. MPs from Labour, Tories, Lib Dems, even independents united in outrage, no party lines here. It was humanity over politics. One Labour MP kicked off with that game-changing metaphor. You can't alter the rules mid-match and expect players to stay. A conservative followed, sharing his immigrant mom's story. 5 years to ILR let her settle, him thrive. They blasted the Home Secretary's absence, demanding she explain why breaking promises is okay. Stories flowed. The persecuted couple, the anxious carer, the exploited worker tied to abusive sponsors. A Lib Dem exposed the sponsor power imbalance, employers dangling visas like carrots, forcing silence on low pay, harassment. 15 years of that? It's modern servitude, he thundered. They cited the RCN survey warning of NHS collapse. Economic hits, losing high-skilled talent to rivals. Family splits, dependents left behind. The chorus, transitional protections, grandfather and current visa holders, let them finish on 5 years. Honor the deal, Britain, one summed up. The government rep mumbled about balancing migration and contributions, but looked defensive, promising to consider feedback. It was a win for visibility, but not binding. The Home Office decides, potentially ignoring it all. So what do? Here's step-by-step guidance to protect yourself. First, check your status. Log into your UKVI account, review your visa grant letter for entry date and conditions. Calculate your 5-year mark. If you're close, gather docs now, pay slips, tax returns, address history for an early ILR app if rules change. Second, write your MP. Use writetothem.com. Share your story personally, like how Extension would force you out. Emphasize contributions. Third, join campaigns. Sign and share petitions on change.org or parliament.uk. Follow groups like Migrants' Rights Network. Fourth, document everything. Keep records of promises in recruitment ads or visa guides for potential legal challenges. Fifth, explore alternatives. If eligible, switch to routes with shorter ILR, like Global Talent, 3 years, or Innovator. Sixth, build support. Talk to unions like Unison for Carers or tech associations. Seventh, monitor updates. Subscribe to UK visa update notifications. Will alert you instantly. Eighth, prepare financially. Save for potential visa extensions, which cost thousands each time. If that doesn't cut it, escalation options are there. Judicial review. If retrospective rules pass, challenge via solicitors specializing in immigration law, firms like Binman's or Wesley Greek. Grounds, breach of legitimate expectation or human rights under Article 8, family life. Class actions brewing, join via crowdfunding sites. Protest, organize, or attend demos outside the Home Office. Peaceful, visible pressure works. Media. Pitch your story to BBC, Guardian, or influencers. Amplify the human angle. International pressure, if from EU or Commonwealth, lobby your embassy. Union strikes, if in NHS, coordinate walkouts to highlight shortages. Political lobbying, target key ministers via petitions or all-party groups. And if worst comes, relocation planning. Research Canada's Express Entry, points-based, fast PR. Or Australia's skilled migration. Start building profiles now. Oversight concerns run deep here. Who's watching the watchers? The Home Office has a history of scandals. Windrush, where promises were broken, lives ruined. Retrospective changes erode trust in government. Violating rule of law principles Britain prides itself on. No independent oversight for these proposals. The Migration Advisory Committee advises, but government cherry picks. MPs called for scrutiny, but without it, bias creeps in. Favoring the wealthy over essential workers. Transparency's lacking. Consultation responses hidden. Decisions opaque. If implemented, appeals overload tribunals, costing taxpayers. Broader worry, damaging UK's global rep is fair. Welcoming, talent flees, investment dips. We need accountability. Parliamentary select committees grilling ministers, public audits of impacts. As we wrap this tale, think back to those MPs standing tall, voices cracking with emotion, fighting for strangers who've become kin through shared struggle. It's a story of betrayal threatening to unfold, but also of resilience rising. You've got the power. The petitions that forced this debate prove it. If you're watching this feeling that knot in your stomach, know you're not alone. Rise up, share your truth, demand the promise kept. Britain thrives because of you. Don't let them forget it. Stay vigilant, stay united, and let's turn this chapter into triumph. Thanks for tuning into UK Visa Update. Hit like, subscribe, comment your story below. Together, we'll see this through. Until next time, keep believing in the life you've built here. It matters more than they know.